So I said, let me come and ask you people, what is the expiration date on cheating? No, that's not. What's the expiration date on forgiving someone that cheated on you? And this is coming from a man's perspective, because I realized that society is kinder to men who cheat on their wives, but harsher to women who cheat on their husbands, be it a one-night stand or a real relationship or an affair, whatever you want to call it. So the thing is, it got me thinking about how long does it say that the person who cheated on you should grovel and beg or show working and be transparent that they've actually changed and they want to have a committed relationship with you. I watched this movie on Bjorn Steven, Healing with Him, and the theme basically was this lady who had a married woman who had a one night with her ex, and she felt so bad. The husband didn't catch her, but she felt so guilty and couldn't go on with the relationship until she confessed to the husband. She confessed to the husband. The husband obviously needed time to process this, and she was a dutiful wife, felt really terrible for her mistake, and in the movie you could see that she was actually putting in the work to mend the relationship, but the guy just wasn't feeling it, and eventually the guy said they should get a divorce. I think after a year of them living together after the cheating, that they should get a divorce. So she was broken and she moved out of the house, or I think he moved out. Somebody shall moved out of the house. But what was intriguing for me in the story was that she spent, outside of the one year trying to get the husband back, she spent more time trying to see if things could work out with them, doing all the things that she felt she needed to do, getting the support from her friend, who is a guy, by the way, her friend and her colleague. Eventually, she now saw on his social media handle that he was engaged and getting married, and I think that was what gave her basically put the nail on the coffin to tell her that, okay, it's not only that your marriage is over, but that there's no hope of you guys coming back together. And she decides in that moment to actually start living for herself. She has done this mistake. She, wrecked her marriage, and it was time to give herself grace to move on. After that happens, she gets into another relationship, apparently with her friend who has been there years for all this happening. Then suddenly she meets her ex-husband, and he wants them to try again. And it's not the fact that he wants that, but in a way it now kind of felt like it wasn't just was the timeline for the forgiveness, but it was another lesson of, have you learned your lesson? Because now you're with this other person, even though you are not married, but I don't remember if they were engaged or they were just in a relationship, but you cheated on your husband at the time with your ex, and now your ex-husband has come back and wants you to be together. So for me, it's like the learning of, do you now do the same mistake that broke your marriage, even though this is the person that you wronged? And my musings is basically, what is the timeline for you to actually forgive someone, but not just only forgive, to forgive and continue building on the relationship? And this is coming from a man's perspective, the man being the person who was cheated on. Like I said, men get I won't say a free pass, but men by society have it easier when they cheat on their wives. So when their partners cheat on them, it's harder for them to swallow, because there's the embarrassment. They feel like women only cheat when they're in love. There's so much emotion to it that women cannot just be like a man and do no strings attached, which I don't have any any opinions to add to that, because I just feel that's what. Then there's also the aspect of, if you were in that relationship and you have children and the children find out that mommy cheated, how do you navigate that? How do you navigate that the children know, you being the person who cheated, and then you now being the partner who decides to forgive mom? Because as you're forgiving, you would always also have to have that conversation with your children, if they know, especially if they're older children, or even maybe they're teenagers. Younger children may or may not know, they might not realize. I don't know if there's an age group for them to figure out what's happening in the home. But how young would it be that your child finds out, and then you have to have that conversation that you're forgiving mom and this is why, and the child too also have to do their own forgiveness? So what is the timeline for infidelity to go from destroying the home to actually making the home stronger? And this is now the part where, 5 years down the line, you now reference that cheating and bring it back. Because to me, yes, you can forgive and you don't forget, but always bringing it into conversations all the time, then it kind of says that you haven't fully forgiven. And that's okay that you haven't fully forgiven, but don't re-traumatize yourself and the other person as well. I mean, you can forgive and move on. Anyway, this is neither here nor there, because I think I'm just now going round and round in a circle. I just came to ask, what is a timeline for a man to actually honestly forgive a woman that has cheated on him? And what if you, like the movie, you decided to take a few months or a few years, no, not a few months, a few years, just like the movie, and then when you decide that, you're ready now for you guys to work on this marriage, and the person is with somebody else, oops, you stop being the victim to the person. Anyway, I don't want to say it, because I feel like Biodu Steven did something different with that ending, and I loved it a lot, and that's another reason why I'm doing this video. But it also got me thinking on, when women cheat, you don't only seek the forgiveness of the person you cheated on. If other parties know, friends, family, children, you kind of like seek their forgiveness too, because in a way they are stakeholders to the marriage, especially if they introduced you guys. But yeah, because even if the partner forgives you, their own forgiveness takes longer. But what if you haven't forgiven yourself, or you forgive yourself and then you move on, and you're now torn between going back and then forging this life that you made a mistake to start, and that's by cheating, but then you made the best of what the cards were dealt? That's my musings for today. Let me know your thoughts. Have you cheated? How long did it take you to get back in the person's good graces? Have you been cheated on? How long did it take you for you to forgive the person and continue the relationship? Let me know. Peace.